Winter in New Jersey is kind of like this. I'd say around Halloween, so the end of October, it would start getting chilly. You'd have that fall like chill in the air, autumn chill in the air. It really doesn't start getting chilly though until like October. There's a little bit of cooling in September, but then there's always a spike again at the end of September and it gets hot again for some reason. I'm not really sure. So in middle of October, end of October, it starts getting chilly. Usually no snow or anything until after the new year. Just starts getting colder and colder and colder. And then maybe a little bit of ice, but usually it's not snow. It's usually one good snowstorm in the middle till the end of January. But it hardly ever lays you up. It's maybe like delayed openings, maybe school's closed and, you just going to work a little bit late or something. It's usually about 2 or 3 feet, which is about half of me. So that can't be right. Wait, let me think. It's probably about a foot and a half. So it could go up to 2 feet. Usually if it's after 2 feet, it's like a closed building or whatever, but very, very rarely. And I worked from home, so I always had to work even when it was nasty weather. And basically lots of people out there at like 6 o'clock in the morning shoveling the path and trying to clear off their cars so they can go to work. And then it usually stays around. You see the plows go down the street and they just push all of the snow back onto your driveway that you've just shoveled out so that the streets can be cleaned and iced, ungridded. And then that usually lasts a couple weeks. And then it starts to melt and it starts getting warmer, usually end of February, early March. Starts to pick up the temperature and you don't really get much more precipitation. There's been a few like blizzards and things like that where it's really bad storms in my lifetime, but it typically doesn't get that bad. Just enough to be annoying and a pain in the ass. It's usually not as windy as it is here. So I think that might be part of my issue as well. But it does get cold. It doesn't get below freezing. Okay, that's what it looks like in America in New Jersey in January, Manny, when it snows. That's what it looks like. And yep, they're just driving around, except there's not as many cars parked on the street because that's not a thing. Especially when it snows, you're not allowed to park on the street because of the plows. The plows will come up the street like this and all of the snow will be pushed against the edge of the road like that. So the cars can't be parked there because the plow has to come down and plow it all out. But that's pretty much what it looks like otherwise. I remember when I was little, we had no money, right, for heat or anything. So I remember my dad would put blankets and towels and stuff around the window panes and stuff. One time when I was in America, I was at a veterans function with my dad. It was me and my daughter, so my partner was working. So I was in a car. I was in a truck, it was a Ford truck before I had my Jeep. That was fabulous. But I was driving there and she had fallen asleep in the back and it had started snowing as we were leaving. So I was like, I just have to get home. And it was only like a 40 minute drive. We were driving and it was just snowing. So it was still really slippery and the plows and the grit hadn't been out yet. So I slid and the car actually went like this and slid right up to property, had the mailbox at the end on the street and it had like stone kind of mountainish thing up leading up to it to protect the mailbox. And I had slid right up the rocks to the top. Luckily, nothing damaged underneath the car or anything. We were okay. And I was able to just back down from it and then continue on my journey because what else am I going to do? Everybody was all right and everything, but that was scary because I had my daughter in the back and she was like 4 or 5. That was really, really scary. And then there was one time that we had a really bad snowstorm and we had lost our heat. We lost our electric, which had the heat was turned on by the electric, sorry. And so we had lost our electric and we were driving around because it was 3 or 4 days we were stuck in the house. So we were driving around and I was driving because my partner isn't as comfortable driving in the snow. And it must have snowed at least 4 feet the roads were somewhat clear, but it was still kind of slippery. It had stopped snowing, but it was still slippery on the roads and everything. And I remember we were driving and I was like, oh, I actually want to go the other way, but I didn't want to go all the way down the road that was really, really slippery. So I just drove over the median. It was piled up with snow because I had a 4x4 that was 4-wheel drive, and I could just drive right over the snow to make the U-turn instead of waiting. Not that I would recommend that to anybody else, but that was kind of fun to be able to do it. I'm not gonna lie.